Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to showcase the upgrades I had done to the Café Corner modular building. Mainly adding one more floor and integrating the Friends Central Perk into the ground level interior. Here's a comparison of before and after. One obvious and noticeable change is the hotel signage. I had shifted it to the middle of the building, and it now says cafe, which makes more sense to me. I also reduced the building by 2 studs backwards to allow for a wider walkway at the front. At the back of the building, I extended the walls to close the empty corner space. For the additional floor, I made it such that it is not repeating. Instead, it is a stretched up version, maintaining the ratio of tan and dark reddish brown. Although there are a lot of modifications done, I want to stay true to the original look of the Café Corner. At the main entrance of the cafe, you can see that I have this familiar circular pattern signage. It is a direct plug out from Assembly Square. Since now the awning is red and white, I feel like too much yellow is lost from the original. Having this yellow signage kind of made up for that. Next is the cafe signage. I used the same colors and similar build style as the hotel signage. I also added a giant cup signage at the top, plug out from Creator Set 31097. I changed the essence color to dark green to match the central perk, and used this clip at the bottom to hold it at an interesting angle. Here's a closer look at how I built the alphabets. For my letter A, you can see that there is a very tiny gap here. It's only obvious when looking at it straight up closely. I cannot think of a better way to form this letter A, so if you have a good solution, please leave a comment below. I used these modified bricks to create the bottom half of the alphabet. Everything snaps in place quite well. The F and the E are as original to the real one as possible. The overall structure remains true to the original. The original cafe wood on the floor has been removed, and the ground has been restored to dark gray tiles. These tables and chairs at the front are from the Friends Set Central Perk. I placed them here to inject some contrast and details to the set. You can see here that the construction is done upright, and then placed sideways due to the print on the clear panel. I used modified bricks on both ends to attach it to the build. The top is made from normal bricks pre-attached to the top structure. After plugging in the top structure, I can get the complete look with the green window and wall. Let's now have a look at the interior. As mentioned earlier, I reduced the building by 2 studs. I did this by removing the empty gaps on both sides of the stairs, so the front of building can have a wider walkway. For the interior, you can see I managed to put in all the details from the central perk. But I had to modify the size of some objects smaller and plan the layout well to fit them in. Along this wall I managed to put in the original menu signboard, followed by the counter. I compressed the coffee machines or appliance to occupy only 1 stud. Next, we have the main sitting area. I used tiles to create the carpet, staying close to the original colors. I carefully planned to position the studs on the carpet to attach furniture and decorations. For this table, I must reduce the length by 2 studs to fit comfortably while still allowing a reasonable walkway. Here's a close-up and how it looks like from the back of the printed clear panel. This is the performing stage area. I raise it by 2 studs and follow the color of the carpet from the original set. On this wall, I had kept the service arrow sign and placed the dark red benches, and I hang up 2 decorated guitars by the stage to enhance the plain wall. You can also notice that for the wall colors, I followed closely to the Central Perk set. Here's another view to the counter area. Notice how I reduced the length of the counter and have a carpet below it. I also added a toilet under this space below the stairs. Let me break it apart so we can take a closer look. Behind this door is a 4x4 studs area space, enough to construct a small toilet. There is a poster, a toilet bowl, and a toilet roll. To save space, I built the sink and mirror as part of the wall. Let me fix the walls and stairs back quickly. I also did a small change on the stairs here to better show the turning of direction. Let's take a look at the entire interior layout again. Right outside of the Central Perk printed piece, I placed some tall brown tables with yellow and tan chairs. On the other side, I had benches. I also simplified the entrance to the stairs. Now, let's move to the second level. There are a few small changes done to the exterior. Firstly, now this floor is all in dark reddish brown with a dark red line across. I added a little top shade in dark red to each of the windows to break up the color. For the corner arch support, I updated this part into a modern modified brick. Here is how I attached the support for the cafe signage. I also randomly replaced some 1x2 tiles with ingot to add some details to the brick wall. I added a row of overhanging ledge for plants for the upper floors. By adding some greens and pinks and reds, it helps to break up a large boring block of brown color. Because of the reduction in 2 studs to the building, I decided to close the gap between these 2 windows, which now looks similar to the window at the corner. For the interior, nothing is done yet for this floor. I just used this floor as a temporary space to keep the Central Perk minifigures. I wanted brighter walls compared to the original, so I used quite a lot of tall tan bricks and panels to replace the brown bricks. I find that these parts are very useful and efficient in building walls. Here's a quick demonstration. Imagine building walls like this compared to layering them brick by brick. Back to the interior, I also want to mention the stairs. It is now by the wall, and I added a wedge plate on the first step to illustrate the turning stairs. Let's stack it back on top of the Central Perk and attach the support for the cafe signage. Next is the third floor, which is the most similar to the original build, except some minor color and part change. You can see here I added 10 masonry bricks here. As explained earlier, I did not want the second and third floor to look the same, hence I stretched the color ratio vertically on the overall exterior of the building. I kept the dark red line essence across. These 2 windows are put together the same way as the second floor, but because I do not have a matching arch for this, I had to duplicate the design from the corner window. I also updated the support to a modern modified brick. With this design, the top arch is extended outwards, so I created this ledge to house some plants and flowers for the upper floor. The interior treatment here is exactly same as second floor, using tall tan bricks and panels. For the windows, in my previous video, I showed how I stacked 2 window frames to create each window. I have now reduced it to 1 window frame. Let's put them together and see how they look. Looks perfect, I'm loving it. Here's the highest floor, and not many changes are done to this level. I shifted the window and averaged out the spacing between them with the removal of 2 studs. I also added these more modern and detailed bricks to decorate the roof. Nothing done yet for the interior. Finally, for the roof cover, I had to remove 2 cylinder bricks to complete the fence. Here's the final complete look. This is how I envision my cafe corner to be, with the Friends Central Perk as the ground floor cafe, and the Friends apartment on the upper floors. Here's a quick reference matching up with my other modular building, the detective's office, which is shifted about 4 to 5 studs backwards to have a wider walkway. Look at the spacious walkway in front of the buildings. Now that I know I will be shifting all my corner buildings just 2 studs back, I will be facing this problem. The corner buildings will always be about 2 to 3 studs forward of the non-corner modular buildings. The sides of the exposed corner building can be quite ugly depending on the sets. So, I am planning to go back to my non-corner modular buildings and shifting them again. My new way is that these buildings will only be shifted 3 studs backwards, and I will use the remaining empty space for the interior. In short, I will have a wider walkway and deeper buildings. The Green Grocer that you see here is the original build. I'll be a good reference to see how it matches up with my cafe corner that is shifted 2 studs backwards. Yup, this confirms for me. By shifting the Green Grocer 3 studs back, it should match up nicely. Here's a view of the back. If we look behind the Green Grocer, there are 7 studs of empty space. So after shifting the building 3 studs backwards, I can increase the depth of the building by 4 studs, giving me more space to construct details for the interior. Thank you for watching my video. As usual, reminder to subscribe, like and come back for more as I share my progress weekly. See you soon.